Does your stash of scraps look like this? Well, today we are going to change these scraps into a beautiful reusable bag. This is a stylish reusable bag. Do you have a stash of fabric scraps laying around in your sewing space that you absolutely need something to do with? Drop me a yes in the comments. And look at a nice reusable tote bag. Even has a nice little pocket on the inside. Join me as we make a bag together. Now let's talk materials. Okay, so the materials we'll need: scissors, a ruler, thread, either matching thread or corresponding thread, depending on what you want to use, clips or pins, I like both, and your stack of scraps. Along with your fabric scraps that you have, you can use pillowcase, old jeans, if you have any denim that you'd like to use, and then we can mix and match those colors. The possibilities are only limited by your imagination. All right, now we're ready to actually start our project. You want to cut out your two main pieces for the body, about 14 by 18. I had this one piece that I decided to keep, so I'm going to use that. And I wanted to line it, so I pulled out an old piece of shirting that was just in my stash, and I'm cutting that to size. Feel free to cut the size of your fabric based on how big or how small you want your bag to be. So when this is folded over, it still should be a nice size bag. Now, this is your bag. You can do whatever you want to do. But for this one, I decided to make a pocket. And let me just move this over a little bit. So what I did was I actually grabbed the pattern piece from a jeans pattern. So I cut the pocket out, and now I'm going to put it onto the lining piece before I actually sew the sides up, because it'll make for easier installation. And I will put the pocket onto this lining piece, and then we'll move on to the next step. Oh, one other thing I forgot. If you have labels that you're using, you want to add that label to your pocket piece. And then add the pocket piece to your lining. Right back. Okay, I sewed my labels on the pocket, and it's not quite centered, but it's okay. Like, I'm not going to nitpick on a project like this, and I think that the people that I'm making this for will just appreciate it and not berate me over the head for not making it perfectly centered. Let me know in the comments what fun or creative detail are you adding to your bag. Do that tag stitch. Here we go. So next I am going to attach the pocket to the lining, and then I am going to, then we'll sew the lining down each side. So first the lining, the pocket is placed. I'm going to pin that, a couple of pins to keep it in place. I'm going to go to the machine, and then I'll just stitch down each side and leave the pocket part open. Once that is completed, while I'm at the machine, I will finish the lining. So this is the lining. I'm going to take it, bring right sides together. This is going to be the opening up here, so you don't want to sew that. Get the edges matched up, and then you'll sew down the edges of the pocket of your lining. Now, if you have a piece that's one piece altogether, you won't have to sew the bottom. You just would have to do both sides. All right, I'm gonna go to the machine and do that, and then I'll be right back. You know, I was looking at my labels thinking, I need some new labels. You guys have any ideas of labels or where I can get some good labels? Drop a note in the comments. Before we move on, I just wanted to share with you on this bag that I made. I did a square pocket, which is probably easier for beginners. And I sewed it to the lining before I actually attached it to the bag. So I think the square might be a little bit easier to do. And if you notice, this purple here is actually a sheet, or no, actually a pillowcase that I use from the fabric or the sheets that I did in my unusual fabric haul. And you'll be able to see it in this video right here. So here are my straps. I cut them with 20 inches or so long and about 3 inches wide. And then I folded in each side of the strap and then folded it together, gave it a good press. And I'm going to take this over to the machine and top stitch along each edge. All right, everyone, all of our component pieces should be put together. You should have 2 straps. I did stitch the straps, top stitch them. You should have your main body of your bag. In this case, I just used this one fabric. You should have an opening here sewn on the other 3 sides and your lining piece. And you can see the pocket is on the inside. And now the fun part, we're going to assemble this together. All right, so we're going to pin our handles to the bag. So this is the right side of the bag. You see, this is the wrong side. You see the side where I'm sewing. I measured in, so I used my table, 1, 2, 3, 4 inches, and then I placed the handle in the bag down like this. So it's inside on the right side. I did the same thing on each side of the handle. Again, I measured in 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I placed the handle in, and I did it for all of the handles. So if you see, it's kind of hard because the fabric is the same, but the handle is on the inside, right sides together, pinned in place. 1, 2, both of them. So I'm going to just show you, this is the right side of the bag, and you can see the handle is in there. Okay. So now we're going to take our lining with the right side out. We're going to stick the lining inside the bag, right sides together, meaning the right side of your lining is facing the right side of your bag. Just putting it in, shaking the lining down inside. So as you can see here, the right side of the bag, the right side of your lining, all together. Then you'll start pinning. I would start pinning at the side seam and then pin all the way around. And then you're going to stitch at I would say a 5/8 seam allowance all the way around. And you're going to leave a about a 2 to 4 inch opening so that we'll be able to turn the bag out. All right, let's pin, sew, press, and we'll be right back. How you feeling? Are you starting to see the shape of the bag come together? I am. I'm pinning on all my pinning. I'm a pinner. So pinning all of the edges together before I go over to the machine. And then if you go to over here, you see it's a little bit more space. You can kind of ease it in together. I think that just comes with, especially if you use the fabrics that aren't exactly the same, they might be a little bit more stretch in one than the other, or even when you cut it out, it may have just, grown a little bit, but that's okay. It's a reusable bag. We are upcycling, recycling, and being eco-friendly. Okay, let's go to your machine or to your serger, and we're going to sew the bag and lining together. But be sure to leave a 2-inch space between where you start and where you finish. You can sew the bag at a 5/8 seam allowance, or you can use your serger and serge all the way around. And as you can see, once you turn it out, you can just see you have that 2-inch space, and this will allow you to turn the bag right sides out. Okay, guys, I don't know what happened on the audio, but I'm going to speak on the microphone now. Now you want to turn your bag right sides out in that space, that 2-inch space that you had left. You're turning it out. Take your time. It's okay. As you pull it out, to get it all zhuzhed out. Get your lining on the inside of the bag so you can see it's starting to take shape. The bag is almost done. And if you notice, I had a little boo-boo. I was sewing and I guess I forgot to sew one of my straps, keep it attached as I went and sewed it. So I am going to take a pause, go back and correct my error, which is fine. I'm going to turn the bag right back outside again and just go over that space where I need to reattach the strap. But other than that, you can see your bag is coming together. Give yourselves a hand. All right, I fixed my error and the straps are now sewn correctly. Now we're ready to close up that 2-inch gap that we had. What we'll do is give our bag a press so that we can make sure we press down the edges, make sure everything is nice and tucked in, fold in that 2-inch space, and then we'll take it to the machine and we're going to top stitch our bag. So we're going to have the top part of the fabric laying on the top part of the machine, and we're just going to do 2 rows of stitching all the way around the top of the bag. This will close up that 2-inch gap as well as provide a nice little 2-inch row of detail along the top of the bag. Take your time. There is no rush. When you get to your handles, you might want to do I would suggest doing a reinforcement stitch, meaning go back and then go back over it, that same row of stitching again, just to reinforce that handle and give it some good stability and strength there. Okay, make sure you clip off or trim off any pieces of thread and go give her a good press. Okay, the final press is complete. So what do you think? You have a fun, scrap busting, eco-friendly, reusable bag ready to go out grocery shopping, or maybe to the beach, or maybe she matches an outfit that you have and you want to carry her as an accessory. It's all up to you and how you plan to use your bag. If you are excited about trying this project, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to see what's the next project that's going to be happening in the sewing room. You just never know and you don't want to miss it. As always, thank you for watching. Have a great day and happy sewing.